बोले कौन
बजाए
बजाए
बांसुरिया.
बांसुरिया. Dun, 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 dun.
Hello everyone, I am Preetham Shah from BMM Guru. We are an online community for media students, media aspirants. Thinking strategic, being creative, and working artistic is all we know, and that's what we share. Today we have with us a man who don't need a formal introduction. He is the Guruji of Indian advertising. He is the founder and the leading director of one of India's leading production houses, that is Genesis Film Productions. He owns a scuba diving school, owns a restaurant in Mumbai, and recent feather to his cap is his education institute, which is PKSBE, which is Prahlad Kakkar's School of Business and Branding and Entrepreneurship. He is India's most renowned filmmaker, virtually reinvented advertising. He is one and only Prahlad Kakkar himself.
Yeah, you guys, it's bad enough calling me an advertising guru, and now you started calling me advertising Guruji. I mean, which means that I'm 1 foot in the grave. I better head for the Himalayas and take sannyas, because that's what Gurujis are supposed to do. You know, not hang around in the real world. Just go off. Is that a hate? They've been trying to do this to me for the last 20 years. 20 years ago, they gave me my first Lifetime Achievement Award. You know what happens with the Lifetime Achievement Award? It's a big sign saying, retire. You know? I mean, that's what it actually means. This is your life is over. Here's your reward. Now, bhag ja tu. You know? And if you listen to them now, I'm not listening to you right now either.
So I just wanted to understand who is your Guruji and why.
I've had many gurus and many idols, but my main mentor was Sam Benigar.
Okay.
Because when I came from Delhi and I came to Bombay, he was the guy who took me in hand, and he was responsible for making me a slave. And we continue that tradition of slavery, because all my assistants are called slaves too. So his assistants were all slaves, and we were not, our names were never called out, only our numbers were. So I was slave number 4, and then you get promoted gradually to slave number 3, slave number 2, slave number 1, and then you become, from a slave you become a gopher.
Okay.
A gopher is the guy who's paid. Slaves don't get paid.
Yes.
Okay? So slaves have a contract, which is that you're a trainee, basically you're a slave. You don't need to be paid. You can't run away. You can't resign. You can't ask for a raise. You can't ask for better working conditions. You can only be sold.
Correct.
So that's your slavery.
Yes.
And from there you become a flunky or a gopher. Gopher is where you actually paid and you're told to go for this, go for that. So the short form of that is gopher. Then from gopher you get promoted to flunky.
Flunky.
So then you become flunky, so then you have what? Because the flunky also has a desk, and a table, and a phone, and all that sort of, all the things.
Extra things.
Things. And then you become an AD.
So what's after that? I mean, what's
where they kick you out and they say, okay, now you're good enough to be independent, so go out and do your own thing.
Okay.
And we need to get more slaves in, and there's not enough place in the slave pen, because most of the slave pens are big in this office, which is about 350 or 400 square feet.
Yes.
So it's a little crowded.
Correct. So you did your schooling in military school, and that school is known for discipline. And now you are in a very creative field. How does the drastic change happen in the mindset?
Well, I was in a military school because my family was.
Yeah, I get it.
And the best place to be creative is in a military school, because they're so straight-jacketed.
Correct.
Everybody's thinking along straight lines.
Correct.
That you start thinking crooked, and then you can get away with a lot.
Yes.
And you also get promoted out of turn. You do well. You stand out.
Correct.
Because you're deviant and you're different from everybody else.
Yes.
And so forth and so on. But I not only went to a military school, but I also graduated with military strategy in college. My college was the only college in India probably that offers military studies as a subject.
Wow.
And so I had economics, I had military studies, I had political science. And I think as a combination they were very good if you read beyond the curriculum.
Correct.
Because with military strategy, it's the history of all wars.
Correct.
How they were fought, how they were won, how they were lost. And I think that gives you a tremendous advantage of how to tackle marketing
Correct.
and branding,
Correct.
because wars are really about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Except that in the civilian world, if you fail, you get another chance. In the military world, if you fail, you're dead.
Correct. Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't get another chance. So
Yes.
you can't afford to fail. So you have to do your background research, you have to do strength of the enemy, you have to take the high ground, you have to do the strategy part of it,
Correct.
you
Correct.
have to do the campaign part of it, you have to do the morale part of it, and you have to train for it. And it's a very good crucible
Okay.
on how to actually look at the market,
Correct.
because a war is fought like a brand is fought out in
Yes,
the market.
yes.
It's really a war of brands. Except here you might get a second chance, as I said.
Correct.
In war you don't.
Yes. In fact, it's said that you win every battle if you know yourself and your competitors better. So,
Well, as they say, Confucius was one of the original. There's Sun Tzu, there's,
yeah, Sun
who everybody studies except us. Because we think he's Chinese, so we know better.
Correct.
But then we know better, but we don't even study our own strategic, what do you call, Shastras.
Correct.
We don't study Arthashastra.
Exactly.
We don't study the Gita.
Mm.
We don't study Chanakya.
Mm.
We don't study anything. We
Mm.
study some rubbish. We study Adam Smith or something. But it's a pity that management students and marketing students in India
Mm-hmm.
actually don't study Indian, what do you call, literature
Yeah.
on the art of war.
Correct.
Because we are as good as anybody else in the world.
Okay.
And the chaps who wrote the art of war are absolute masters.
Okay. Great. Great. So we heard there was an adventure story with Prahlad and his young girlfriend and a balcony. So could you please elaborate on that story?
It's no adventure story. It is survival.
Okay, yeah. So for students like us, it's an adventure story.
Well, I had a girlfriend whose parents took 2 spoons of instant dislike,
Okay.
mixed it in a little bit of warm water and drank it.
Okay.
So I was a taboo subject in the house, and she wasn't allowed to see me. So the only time I could see her was when the parents went out of the house,
Correct.
or late at night when everybody is asleep, and she used to quietly open the door, and I used to sneak up into her room.
Correct.
And one day she said my parents have gone out to Powai or something for dinner.
Okay.
And come, we've got 2 hours. So I was very
Okay.
happy. I went off, went boldly, rang the doorbell, walked in like I was an expected guest,
Yes.
and sat down, and we were sort of into an hour of discussing poetry and all sorts of other things which we used to discuss 4 times. We're quite innocent in that.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sure.
suddenly the doorbell goes.
Okay.
And by the way the doorbell goes, you can make out who from the house has rung the doorbell. Because
Okay.
everybody has a signature way of ringing the doorbell. If you notice.
Acha.
If you live in a house,
Yeah.
you realize that from your younger brother to your father to your
Yes.
mother, everybody has a signature of ringing the doorbell. So by hearing the doorbell, you go ting ting ting, tadang, tung, tang 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 tang.
Correct, correct.
Which is the youngest chap in the house.
Yes, yes,
Then
yes.
you know who has come to the door. So the doorbell went, and she went white. So I said, what happened? She said, my father's come back.
Oh.
So I said, what? I said, they were going to Powai. It's only an hour. They
Yeah.
probably just reached there. So unluckily for us, they had a flat on the way. And
Oh.
they cancelled the Powai thing, changed the time, came right home.
Okay.
And I was looking around to see, now what do I do? I'm caught in the house, and I'm persona non grata. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to be trotted off to jail and said he's broken in.
Correct.
And nobody's going to turn around and say I was letting.
Exactly.
They're going to turn around and say, पता नहीं क्या कर रहा है, ये चोर होगा.
हाँ.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Parents.
Hmm.
So there was she had a dog who also didn't particularly like me.
Okay.
And he was sleeping across the door to the balcony.
Okay.
So if I had to get to the balcony, I had to go over the dog. And if he woke up, he would have definitely picked me.
Correct.
Then I had a choice between hiding under the bed, hiding in the toilet, or going over the dog and jumping off the balcony.
And
so
you.
I thought, quickly rejected the 2 other options
Okay.
and was on my way. And before the dog could even realize, Jack Robinson. मेरा मंडोले मेरा तंडोले कौन बजाए बांसुरिया.
Hello everyone, I am Preetham Shah from BMM Guru. We are an online community for media students, media aspirants. Thinking strategic, being creative, and working artistic is all we know, and that's what we share. Today we have with us a man who don't need a formal introduction. He is the Guruji of Indian advertising. He is the founder and the leading director of one of India's leading production houses, that is Genesis Film Productions. He owns a scuba diving school, owns a restaurant in Mumbai, and recent feather to his cap is his education institute, which is PKSBE, which is Prahlad Kakkar's School of Business and Branding and Entrepreneurship. He is India's most renowned filmmaker, virtually reinvented advertising. He is one and only Prahlad Kakkar himself.
You guys, it's bad enough calling me an advertising guru, and now you started calling me advertising Guruji. I mean, which means that I'm 1 foot in the grave. I better head for the Himalayas and take sannyas, because that's what Gurujis are supposed to do. You know, not hang around in the real world. Just go off. Is that a hate? They've been trying to do this to me for the last 20 years. 20 years ago, they gave me my first Lifetime Achievement Award. You know what happens with the Lifetime Achievement Award? It's a big sign saying, retire. You know? I mean, that's what it actually means. This is your life is over. Here's your reward. Now, bhag ja tu. You know? And if you listen to them now, I'm not listening to you right now either.
So I just wanted to understand, who is your Guruji and why?
I've had many gurus and many idols, but my main mentor was Sam Benigar.
Okay.
Because when I मेरा मंडोले मेरा तंडोले कौन बजाए बांसुरिया.
Hello everyone, I am Preetham Shah from BMM Guru. We are an online community for media students, media aspirants. Thinking strategic, being creative, and working artistic is all we know, and that's what we share. Today we have with us a man who don't need a formal introduction. He is the Guruji of Indian advertising. He is the founder and the leading director of one of India's leading production houses, that is Genesis Film Productions. He owns a scuba diving school, owns a restaurant in Mumbai, and recent feather to his cap is his education institute, which is PKSBE, which is Prahlad Kakkar's School of Business and Branding and Entrepreneurship. He is India's most renowned filmmaker, virtually reinvented advertising. He is one and only Prahlad Kakkar himself.
You guys, it's bad enough calling me an advertising guru, and now you started calling me advertising Guruji. I mean, which means that I'm 1 foot in the grave. I better head for the Himalayas and take sannyas, because that's what Gurujis are supposed to do. You know, not hang around in the